For as much as he's dominated the rap landscape for years, the 2020s haven't really been the kindest to Dr. Dre. I know, the biggest music mogul in the world right now actually having some problems? Allow me to weep for him while I play the world's smallest violin. But this time, Dre's problems are a lot closer to home than you might think. In a recent interview, Dre's daughter Latonya Young has spoke up saying that she spent the better part of a year living out of a car. With 4 kids to support, Young has said that she's been hustling as a delivery driver for Uber Eats and DoorDash while her kids are staying with friends and family. So, how the hell has she been living in debt when her daddy is one of the biggest names in music to this day? Well, there's a lot more to it than that. Latonya is actually Dre's daughter from his first marriage to Lisa Johnson, and haven't really spoken in years. According to Latonya, Dre has apparently not even sent them any financial compensation in the last year and a half. But, you've been hearing what's been happening in the news with Dre lately, right? In the past few months alone, Dre's home has been shaky with his divorce from his ex, Nicole Young. This isn't just a little bit of chump change either, with Young asking Dre to fork over $300,000 a month to support the family. Yeah. In order to support the family, the man behind all those classic NWA cuts and the Chronic has to keep paying his ex more than most people's homes are probably worth. Also, the fact that he had a brain aneurysm probably didn't help matters either. Hell, if you had this much drama going on in your personal life, you'd probably start thinking that getting away from the stresses and surgery is actually an improvement. Then again, this isn't some up-and-coming rapper that's looking to make a name for himself. Dre has been a staple in the rap game for years now. Though most millennial kids might just know him as the man behind Eminem, the entire 90s was dominated by this old dude, making Snoop Dogg the god we know today and playing the father figure being sampled on Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly. Lately though, I guess it's just been 187 on Dre's bank account. But come on, you're telling me that all that money from beats by Dre isn't gonna help him somewhere down the line? I mean, the man is close to becoming a billionaire at this point, so it's not like he doesn't have some change to spare here. That's just one part of the story, though. Did I forget to mention that Dre's homeless daughter is actually 38? Yeah, and all you can do is become an Uber driver for a living? Young has said that she just wanted to get in contact with dear old dad for him to say hi to his grandkids. But you're telling me that she's not looking for some checks just for the hell of it? I mean, despite Dre being pretty ignorant in some situations, it looks like neither side is really winning here. And that car she's living out of ain't some random station wagon either. What we've got on our hands here is an SUV that costs somewhere around $2,000 for 3 weeks to rent out. Girl, if you got the money, just do what everybody else does and just find some random Toyota or something. Truly. Granted, she does say that she's looking for better work now and has recently moved to California from Las Vegas to see how things go. Then again, y'all really know how expensive it is to live in California. This is the land of sunshine, but that sunset is a pretty penny compared to what you have going on in Vegas. I mean, the Red Hot Chili Peppers may talk about how great California is in just about every song they play, but the City of Angels isn't the most efficient way to look for new work right out of the gate. Maybe she's got a point though about Dre. Since she hasn't been able to speak with him for the past year and a half, aside from the pandemic basically shutting every single thing down, Young has talked about only being able to speak to her estranged father through his team. Alright, what the hell is that about, Dre? She's your daughter, not some random fan that you met on the street or something. No matter how stressful some of these things can be, you aren't too gangster to actually talk to your kids. Come on. At the same time, maybe it is. Even though we've seen in countless music documentaries, you'd be surprised how many people try to reach out to you after you get famous. It ain't just in hip-hop either. As far back as the 60s, we had people coming out of the woodwork. Oh, look, my long-lost cousin who I haven't spoken to in years is suddenly famous. Better call him and remind them of all the great times we had when we were 12, I guess. Even Childish Gambino had talked about friends trying to sponge off him when he was coming up on Community. During one of his stand-up sets, you can hear Donald totally clowning on one of his many cousins who tried to contact him on Facebook after realizing that he was starting to see him on TV. Call it what you want, but it seems a bit shallow to only look out for your family when things are looking nice. But this is not your random second cousin. This is your own daughter we're talking about. Dre hasn't really said anything at this point, which is probably a wise idea. Whenever it comes to family drama in the press, it only takes a few sentences for you to say the wrong thing and everything gets blown out of proportion. But really, does he have to say anything? Granted, it might be nice if Dre eased up on talking to his family via his team, but he could just easily have a talk with his daughter and sort this thing out, rather than having to make it play out on this stage. Then you realize, oh, No, he can't. Again, this is Dre. So, people have been looking at his every move since the early 90s. Even with all of the concerned moms in the world getting all worked up about his gangster background on the chronic, Dre has been everywhere since. Any self-respecting hip-hop fan would be able to recognize this man's meme mug in an instant. So, he probably can't have as many private moments as he'd like. Fame might be fun at first, but this is where it starts to become one hell of a chore. So is there any way that Drake can make amends with his daughter? At this point, maybe we're not at liberty to say. This news is still fresh and it's probably coming at the worst possible time that Drake could have asked for it. But still, it's not like this man doesn't have a heart or anything. Even when he dissed Eazy-E up and down the block back in the 90s, the man still found a way to pay tribute to those who were closest to him. Dre is clearly a different kind of man than he was back in the day, so you can usually count on him to make the right decision. On the other hand, if this kind of story has gone public all of a sudden, maybe Dre isn't as clean cut as we thought he was. If this woman is pushing 40 and still struggling to ask her own father for help, that kind of speaks to what comes first for Dre. As much as he might be considered a workaholic, there comes a point where you need to actually be concerned with who you're really working for. Dr. Dre, my man, you've got a net worth of $800 million. You got some money somewhere. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Also, where does Latonya's mom fit into all this too? We know Dre has never been on the best terms with his exes, but if his kids are already struggling to keep their head above water, you can imagine the type of fallout that might be having with his ex. Once the drama clears though, Dre really should do the right thing and do right by his daughter. Sure, it's gonna be a lot to deal with all at once, but this is the kind of thing that Dre could build back up if he wanted to. He could go back to his production duties behind the board. He could finally release that solo album we've been waiting 2 decades to hear. Or he could just sit back and watch Beats by Dre keep making money until the sun burns out of the damn sky. You can't say that the man doesn't have options. Also, Dre has come way too far to just go back working on the streets again. Like any other hip-hop star, Dre hustled and cut his teeth to get to where he is today, even coming close to death a few times in the process. My man hasn't been suffering for cash for a long time, and something tells me it isn't about to start again now. Given all that's gone down for the 90s legends, the fact that this stuff keeps happening just looks sad at the end of the day. There are only a few legends of the rap game that actually managed to find a bit of peace after they hit it big. Ice Cube did it. Eminem managed to clean up okay. Granted, we probably could have dealt without something like Ride Along or M's Kamikaze, but at least we would know that these guys were in a much better emotional place than they were in their prime. Dre deserves better. The hip-hop community deserves better. But most of all, Latonya deserves better. Maybe. We don't know her. Her father is one of the biggest names in the world, and she shouldn't have to be working as a damn delivery driver just to feed her kids at the end of the night. It can't be easy telling those kids about how amazing their grandpa is if he's just sitting there counting his stacks of money instead of helping them out, You've made all the money that you could have possibly asked for, Dre. Now it's time to come correct and do right by your family. That's all we know for the moment, though. What do y'all think about Dre's situation here? Is Latonya just trying to sponge off her dad, or is Daddy just being a pushover and ignoring his daughter? Leave a comment and let us know. Other than that, be sure to like and subscribe and keep coming back to RIZZLE so you don't miss out on all the latest hip-hop news.